As co-founders of Trade Automation Pros, they built AI and automation strategies that streamline over 1 million contractor tasks. They also co-host the award-winning Service Business Mastery podcast, reaching more than 160,000 listeners every month with real-world insights for growth and efficiency. Both have been recognized as top 40 under 40 industry leaders, and they share a foundational service as proud U.S. Air Force veterans. Today, they're on a mission to help contractors optimize, automate, and delegate for the future. So please join me in welcoming Josh Crouch and Tersh Blissett.
Tersh, hey buddy. I didn't realize you were going to be at Service World this year.
What's up, dude?
How you doing, man?
How are you, buddy?
Good. How's business?
Dude, it's great. It's we're killing it, man. Like, absolutely, we are killing it.
That's awesome, dude. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah. So, honestly, though, bud, we're slammed. Like, our phones haven't stopped ringing. The schedule's packed. I hired 2 new technicians last month.
Dude, that's awesome. It sounds like you're totally killing it right now.
Yeah. I guess.
You guess?
I mean, honestly, it's like I'm on a treadmill. Full speed, but I'm not going anywhere.
That sounds rough.
Let me put it this way. I miss Memphis' soccer game. Three technicians, one day. First guy forgot to close the job out properly. It happens. Oh well. The second guy, you'll love this one. He actually didn't blow out the drain line whenever we were doing the install. So get a phone call, flooded ceiling. Love that one. And then the last guy didn't put in the disconnect after we did the maintenance. So here I am driving to a customer's home at 8 o'clock at night just to put a disconnect in.
Oh, man, that's rough. Well, how's marketing going for you?
Oh, I'll be honest with you. I had to rewatch this 45-minute automation video. I mean, our marketing, let's be honest, it's great. We're everywhere. We are, I mean, the phones are ringing nonstop. I am not, it's just, we're doing great with marketing. We're supposed to be AI and automated 100%. And I'm watching this video and it automated everything, but, spoiler alert, it did not automate my business.
So what's your biggest challenge right now?
Everything's just noise. I get these leads, they're coming in for sure, right? The problem is that half of them are junk leads. And so then I spend all of my afternoons just going through all these meetings that with other people who are trying to sell me more technology. And I don't even have time to implement or learn the ones that we have already.
But don't you have AI?
I mean, yeah, I guess. But supposedly I have AI. But let's be honest, I feel more like the robot than the business owner.
Does that sound familiar? We're busy, but not productive. We're surrounded by tech, but stuck in chaos. We're drowning in dashboards, but starving for clarity.
So as home service providers, we know that we have a lot of these issues. We try as hard as we can to do as much as we can, as well as we can.
Now we know this, or at least we feel this, so we do a lot to try and solve these problems. And one of the first things that we do is maybe we try to start to offload some of this work to other people. So we decide that we want to delegate some of our tasks. And what that typically looks like, especially for those that are growing in small businesses, we decide the first thing to go is we're going to delegate call answering to our team because that means we can run more service calls. Then once we have more service calls, we decide to hire more technicians because now we want to grow and now we're at the point where we can work more on the business. And then we decide we want to hire a marketing company because we want to get more leads and we have more mouths to feed. The problem with this is our CSRs, when we hire them, they don't have a script. They don't have training. So their performance is not great. Then when we hire the techs and we have them in the field, they don't have a proper system to follow on every single call. So you have your top performers where we try to give them all the good leads, and we have everyone else where we give them the 2-year-old systems. And then with our marketing company, because we're so busy doing all of these things and putting out all of these fires, we don't make our meetings. We don't understand what's going on. So we move to the next agency thinking that was the fix. So we're offloading some tasks to other people.
Let's be honest. We adopt new technology. Say we have an AI sales coaching tool that's going to help magically fix all of our sales problems. And then we have this AI CSR. We don't have to have any human interaction anymore, right? Then we have the AI assistant that's going to build out all of these social media posts for us automatically. Well, the problem is that we didn't optimize the sales process prior to implementing the AI sales coach. We did not monitor the results from the AI CSR. And then we will throw let's write me a social media post into ChatGPT or Claude, and it comes back with something generic and like, that's obviously AI. So we just say, it's not there yet. So we offload these tasks onto others and then try to adopt these new technologies.
Then sometimes, and really only sometimes, we try to fix how smooth our business operates. And what that looks like is we decide that we want to start scheduling recurring training because we know we have to up-level our team. Good, you're doing the clicker. Thank you. No, we only have one clicker. Then we build processes, and we build processes so that way our team does perform consistently when they're in the home or they're on the phone. And then we decide we want to manually track KPIs, or we start tracking KPIs because we know they're important. But the problem is when it gets busy, when it's hot or when it's cold, training suffers. We don't keep that consistent routine. It doesn't stick. Then, because we start documenting processes and then we get busy with other fires, we don't consistently document them all the time. And then with our KPIs, we have them. We don't necessarily understand what they mean or how they move the business forward. So it is something that doesn't actually grow our business, and we end up not really looking at it long term. And these things are like tuning up your car's engine while ignoring the transmission, suspension, and brakes. The car or your business just won't run the way you want it to. Now, we do all of these things with one goal in mind, and it's to deliver the best possible services to our customers. The service you provide is the reason why others love you and refer you. But because we sell services, we run into a very unique constraint to your business, and that's time. We only have so much time in our day. And because we sell time, that is the greatest constraint that we have in our business today. So time is the greatest constraint. Time is the big barrier that we have to overcome. But time is also the opportunity we have in front of us.
Okay, all right, we get it. Time. We know we need to break down the time, this whole barrier of time. We tried so hard to do this, but it seems like it never works. So what might work better? Think of it this way. A lot of us are technicians out here, or we started off as technicians prior to being a business owners. Being a technician, you follow a schematic, right? You start at point A, you get to point B, or you get to point Z. It's a roadmap for your HVAC system. We troubleshoot, and then we come up with a diagnosis for our business using this schematic. We cannot keep reacting and playing this whack-a-mole game. It's the same way for our business. Like literally, we have to view things from a top-down approach. So instead of battling the immediate problem right in our face, we need to look at 30,000 feet view. Everything has to connect and compound. So we want to make sure that everything we must think in a holistically way whenever we're trying to connect things. How did one thing impact other things over there and everywhere else? Same way with compounding. By operating this way, we know that the solutions that we install today will also lead to getting better and better consistently over time. We have to have this downstream or cascading of consequences. So, looking back over what we just covered going on, we must... Go ahead, Josh. I'll let you have this. Because this is his thing.
Our little guys in the corner are cues, so I can't really see the little guy on the screen. But we delegate, but without systems, delegation often creates a lot more chaos in our business. We automate, or we try to adopt new technologies, but without optimized processes, the tools that we purchase don't deliver the intended results. And we occasionally try to optimize. But because we're drowning in delegation, fires, and the technology that we're trying to implement, we rarely do it well. So here's the real issue. We're working so hard to do as much as we can, as well as we can, and it still feels like we need to do more, which is why we put in more hours. We do more work. We work on weekends. We miss family time, as we alluded to earlier. The key is you are doing the right things. You're just doing them in the wrong order. And that order that we're going to talk about for the rest of our talk today is, actually, that's the wrong order. This is the order that a lot of people, when we have conversations, follow. They delegate, then they try to buy tech, or they automate, or they use AI, and then they try to optimize. And we're going to flip that today, because delegation and automation are just going to amplify whatever's there. If you have a bad process and you try to automate it, it's going to be an automated bad process. Same thing with technology. So if something is complex or stressful, it makes it more complex and more stressful. If it's running smoothly, it makes it much smoother, which is why we need to start with optimization before we delegate and automate. So what does this look like? First of all, we're going to optimize the process. Then we're going to have a decision tree, which we'll get into a little bit later, where we're going to decide if we want to automate or we want to delegate what's in front of us. So we have a little story that we're going to share.
So this is Anthony. He is a contractor in Quebec, and Josh interviewed him, but we've known Anthony for many years, and he's a client of ours, and it's been great watching his growth. And Josh is gonna share his story, which he allowed us to share. I'm not sure, is Anthony even here? I think that he might be here, but I could be wrong.
If he's raising his hand, we don't see him. So, as Serge alluded to, he's from Quebec. Go back one.
Oh, I'll go back.
So he's from Quebec, and he started out like many of you probably started out in this room. It was just him. He was the single owner operator running calls. So when he's running in between jobs, he's taking phone calls. He's then decided he started growing a little bit to the point where literally he was pulling over the side of the road, taking calls, writing notes. Then he was sending it. He hired a VA. He was sending his notes to a VA and trying to get literally just copy and pasting and sending that stuff. And that's literally all he did all day long. And it worked until it didn't. He ended up scaling from 1 team to 2 to 4 teams. And he had one admin managing all of those teams. And some of the words that you guys see on the screen, these are verbatim of what Anthony provided us when we interviewed him. It was everything, I was doing everything by hand. I would get a call, and if I'm driving, I'd pull over. At least I think you pull over. Hopefully you did. Can you text me your name, address, phone, and email? Can you imagine taking a call from a customer and be like, hey, I'm on the road, text me that information, and hanging up on them? Not a great place for your customers to be. Then he would forward that to his secretary. The secretary would manually enter that information into his CRM. That's a lot of redundancy in a small business. So every customer call, every form submission, every Facebook lead ad, every note was entered manually. And so Anthony would take that information, he'd copy it, he'd paste it, he'd send it over to his secretary, who would then also copy, paste, put it into the CRM. To make matters worse, he would come to conferences just like this, and all of you guys have probably been in the expo hall at this point. There's a lot of software tools out there, and they all promise that they're going to deliver, and a lot of them do, if you fully implement them. The problem is we have so many shiny objects, especially in our space in the last 3 years, that we just buy tools because somebody told us, or an influencer said, hey, that's the greatest thing ever, so we buy it. And Anthony was doing the same thing. So this is what he said when he saw us speak it was at AHR Expo last year. It didn't really hit me until a bit later on when the volume started getting bigger. Before, when I was a one-man show, it was just, I do what I do, I keep myself busy. But when he started growing a team, it's really every little crack starts to show itself. Some of you guys in the room will probably have experienced this. I know I've experienced this personally. As you grow, those processes that got you to a certain point are not going to get you to the next point. And those cracks start to surface, and it becomes a real big problem for your organization. And the first instance of this for him was when his secretary told me, Anthony, I'm literally wasting my day copying and pasting. Can you imagine paying someone $40,000 to $50,000 a year to copy and paste notes? Because it's not just Anthony. His story, the reason we chose his story is it resonates so well with a lot of the calls that we get when we talk to contractors.
Something that clicked. It just wasn't adding up. It wasn't just about adding tools or outsourcing tasks. It's easy to outsource tasks. It's delegation by abdication. And it was about doing things in the right order. So instead of doing it, delegating and then automating and then trying to optimize the process, possibly optimizing the process, instead, what we want to do is we want to optimize, and then we want to automate, and then delegate.
And that's when Anthony heard us speak. And so within 48 hours of us speaking at AHR Expo and hearing this framework, his admin, his secretary, started optimizing processes. And we're going to give you guys a little free tool that's going to help you be able to do this really fast in your business later. But she started doing that, and then she started automating tasks within 2 days. Now, this isn't part of the slide, but because you guys are at this conference, you guys are hearing a lot of stuff. Make sure you take 2 or 3 things home and start implementing them immediately. That's the biggest thing you can get for your time being at some of these things. So hearing Anthony say, within 48 hours of you guys speaking, I'd already done this, is such a rewarding thing to hear. And hopefully you guys are taking something or already got something today to take home. So what happened from this is the scheduling confirmations for their texts started happening automatically. They didn't have to text those reminders manually. CRM entries flowed through the business without having to copy and paste those notes and enter them a second time. Customers were automatically followed up with through open estimate campaigns. Mistakes disappeared. There wasn't so many phone calls back and forth of, hey, you got this, or hey, did you enter that? That stuff started happening because it was touched once and it was automated. So instead of scrambling, his admin started saying after only about a month, I've got some free time. What other processes can I optimize for the business? So we went from having an admin paid $45,000 to $50,000 a year who was just copying and pasting notes to, I have free time. Now what can I do? Who wouldn't love to have that in their business with people asking, hey, I got some time. What else do you need me to work on? So Anthony didn't just save on payroll. He got his time, focus, and energy back. So he was able to work on the business and start looking at the vision of where he wanted to take his company. Layering tech or people on top of a chaotic system or an unoptimized system does not solve anything. It's going to make your problems worse. And then the thing is, now you're going to have to learn the tech so that way you can dive into it and figure out what's wrong. And most of you guys probably didn't sign up to start your HVAC, plumbing, or electrical company to be tech wizards. So this next quote that we're going to pull up is from Anthony after he had implemented this process, because he had 4 teams. He was ready to hire another administrator. And he literally had an ad ready to go when he heard us spoke and realized that he potentially had something that could get his business further and keep his efficiency down, because Anthony is probably like many of you in this room. He doesn't want a high overhead. He keeps his costs pretty lean. So he was ready to hire, but after watching you guys speak, I realized I was just delegating a bad process and started optimizing first, then started using automation. The results were phenomenal. So the takeaway of the story is optimize, then automate. And if you cannot do an automation from there or use a technology to solve that problem, then delegate it.
So I want to make sure everybody understood and caught that. We want to optimize, automate, then delegate. And we're going to kind of repeat that so many times that you are sick of hearing it, because
we're going to say it at least 7 times, because then you'll hear it the first time.
Yeah. So optimization, first of all, what explain that optimization?
Yeah. So optimization is just really focused on laying out your entire process. I'll use a customer journey example, because a lot of times we send review requests after jobs close because we know we should do that. But we don't actually look at a 12-month span, lay it out, write it down. What do we want our customers to experience so we can keep them coming back and turn a $500 repair into a $20,000 customer over the lifetime of them owning that home? So we intentionally want to design the system so that way we can decide if we can automate it or if we can delegate it after. Tersh alluded to a schematic earlier. And now if you're super experienced, you obviously can wire it without a schematic. But when you are hiring and training new techs, you wouldn't do this, or you wouldn't wire up a new HVAC system or a control board without some sort of instructions, manual, or schematic. And that's really what's happening when we're just throwing people at problems or tech at problems. So why try to grow a business without optimizing or having a guide for you? It's all about clarity and consistency. And hopefully as you guys are hearing this message, you guys are starting to get that. We're trying to take a sledgehammer and beat you over the head with it. So that way we optimize first, and that way we really think about what we want our customers to experience. What do we want our team to experience before we decide what tools and how many people we need to hire?
Absolutely. Like he said, we've said it before, and we'll say it constantly again. If you don't optimize the process, you're going to automate or delegate a chaos, and it's going to really amplify it. I can't express that enough. When we talk to clients who are frustrated about automation and using AI tools, 9 times out of 10, they have not optimized the process yet. So, go ahead, Josh. I don't want to ramble, but I do.
Thanks for handing it back over. As the slide says, you can't improve what you don't inspect. So before you fix a process, you need to see it clearly. So Tersh, how can we decide, or how can we figure out what to optimize in our business?
Okay, so it's actually pretty simple. So you want to ask yourself these questions. What tasks take up the most time throughout the day? And then what processes can cause the most frustration for you personally, or for whoever's doing this task? And then where do things fall through the crack? And then lastly, lastly on our list, where is the lack of consistency between the team members and with the same role? So if there's multiple team members have the same role, where is the consistency, the lack thereof?
Well, that's great, Tersh. Like, we're telling them how to optimize the process, but everyone hears these things. But how can we actually implement this in our business?
Okay, so we have a video here that I created of SOPs, building out an SOP. Because by show of hands, who absolutely loves writing out SOPs?
Oh, we got two.
Yeah.
That's two more than I expected.
Yeah. Oh,
thank you for
over here.
You're either lying or you really, really like the stuff that everyone else hates.
I could totally see Kristen loving that. So what we have here is going to be this is a video of, oh yeah, there it goes. Okay, so this is a video of an SOP builder, Chat GPT, a custom GPT. You can scan that QR code and get access to this. So this is literally me building out an SOP, and it builds it out consistently the exact same way every single time. It's going to ask questions. It'll ask 3 or 4 questions. You answer the questions, and then it will build out every SOP that you have in your book or that you need to put in your handbook. And then you can go through that and then take that handbook or those SOPs, combine them together inside of a handbook, and then we can upload that handbook into a custom GPT. And then a technician can just ask that GPT, hey, what's our holidays? When do we get paid holidays? Or what is our holiday schedule look like? And then it'll spit out, hey, these are the paid holidays that, according to your handbook, this is the page that you can go to. Oh, by the way, you must work the day before and the day after to qualify for holiday pay. And then, like, what's our smoking policy? Okay, here's the page where our smoking policy. You cannot smoke inside of a van, blah, 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 whatever. All of these policies, you put it inside of Slack. Does everybody use some sort of internal communication tool, like Slack or Teams, something like that? I would hope so. I mean, if not, let us know. We could help you get that set up. But it's literally inside of a Slack channel, you can have a custom GPT like this that answers all these questions for the entire team. And it's a centralized place to do it. Do you know why this custom GPT was created? It was built because I was asked 3 times in 1 week what our vacation policy was. What is our vacation policy?
Do you know what your vacation policy is?
I don't have a clue. You know why? Because I use an external brain like this to remember all of that information for me. Why store that here whenever I can have it on this tiny device that's in my pocket? With that being said,
yeah, so if you haven't, so we only had 2 people that love doing SOPs. So you guys keep writing those. You guys go ahead. Everybody else, make sure you grab this. And if you're not the person that's going to end up doing this in your company, send this to somebody who will. Because it will save them a ton of time and they are going to love you for it. So we're going to share a couple other ways that Tersh and I have both built processes in our business. So when I started Relentless Digital, which is my company with my wife, about 5.5 years ago, it was just myself initially. And when I hired my first virtual assistant, I had to teach him how to do all of the things that we needed to do. A lot of that's rank tracking tools, logins, all these sorts of things. I got a video software called Loom. And I started recording literally every single thing I did. I explained what I was doing. And then I handed that over to MJ and asked him to create a process for this, because I know I am not the detail-oriented person. I am not the documenter in our business, but I also knew it was important for somebody to see exactly why we needed to do this step at this point in time and talk through it. And so what we have right now for our company after about 5.5 years, I have about 400 screen recorded videos that our team has used for processes. And our team now does this as a consistent practice when we add new SOPs or new processes to our business. So that's one way that you can do it if that's something that's comfortable for you. Tersh has another way he's going to share.
So also with what Josh has mentioned about Loom, the great part about that is you can literally throw that transcription into a Chat GPT or Claude, and with proper prompt, get the full SOP written out. But there's a process that Josh and I have talked about for many years now when you're building out an SOP. And it can be challenging at times, especially if you feel like you're being rushed or you're in a hurry. Okay, so here's what you do. You take and you write down your SOP. You write it out, you write down each step, or you record on a loom, like, hey, these are the processes, like this is the step. We're going to sign into the FSM, and then we're going to click over here, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And then by the end, that's how you apply for financing. And then you hand that fully written out document to another team member, someone who has never applied for financing before within your company. And then you take and find out where they get stuck, like, because they're going to get stuck. And the first place that they're going to get stuck most often is, what's the URL for Service Titan? I've never signed in there before. And then you go back and you rebuild it and you say, okay, go to go.servicetitan.com. And that's where you get your login. Then you hand it back to a different person. You've written the whole process again. You hand it to a different person. They go through and they do it. Now you find out where they get stuck. Go back through the process again, where the next person gets stuck. On average, you're going to do it about 10 times. Very rarely are you going to nail it the very first time. It just doesn't happen because there's so many times that we do things second nature. Oh yeah, you always go into Gmail first. Like, oh, I didn't realize Gmail is the email provider that we use. So how do I log into Gmail? So all of those things you take for granted because you do it all the time. So keep that in mind. Build out the process, hand it to someone, find out where they get stuck, and then go start from that point on, fix it, keep going, hand it to a different person, repeat the process until they can get all the way to the finish line and do the whole thing. They've applied for financing or sent out an email, whatever the case may be.
What happens when you do that the first time, it will take probably 8 to 10 times. You will get better at it because you will realize the little steps that go into building a process. But what that allows you to do is it allows you to scale your business because now you can make a decision. You can decide what you want to do with that. Good. And this is where you make the decision. You start at the top of the tree with an optimized process. Now you decide which way we're going to go. Now, if it's something you love to do, keep it. If you love running service calls, keep running service calls. But most likely, there are a lot of things that you don't like to do in your business. You decide you automate or delegate. But the process is the most important piece.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the automation. Like, what do we delegate? What are we going to automate? You want to make a list of a repeatable task in your business that you do right now. Then automation. So this is going to be like riding an escalator, smooth. That's a smooth process. It just moves faster without having to walk or work harder. How can you decide what is going to be automated? Honestly, you look at your repetitive tasks.
These are some examples that we put together. There is a lot of repetitive tasks you most likely have in your business or your day-to-day operation. You can keep clicking through. There's going to be a bunch of them. There's like 6 of them. Lead follow-ups, customer nurturing, speed to lead, things that are time sensitive, such as, go ahead, there's 3. Replying to reviews and data movement. Data movement is probably one of the biggest ones that we have as a challenge in today's world because everything is connected to a software. So what else is possible or what else is a candidate for automation?
I alluded to this earlier. I mentioned it. We hadn't talked about it yet, but anything have a clear start and stopping point. So the starting point for this automation is what's known as a trigger. And then the next step or the stopping point is an action step. So whenever we mention triggers and action steps, that's what we're talking about. The starting point that actually starts this workflow automation. Is this task performed more than 2 times a week? I mentioned earlier why that custom GPT was built was because I was asked 3 times in 1 week what our holiday process was. It was Thanksgiving. Basically, what do we have to work Friday after Thanksgiving? Like, how many times have we been asked that same question? And if we don't work it, do we get paid? So like 1,000 times, I feel like I've been asked that same exact question, which is why that was created. So any task that's done more than twice a week, every single week, does it involve moving data between tasks? The automation should reduce the human effort, not replace human insight. I want to repeat that again. Automation should reduce human effort. And when I say automation, you can take automation out and put AI in as well. It should reduce the human effort, but not replace the human insight.
Yeah, and Tersh mentioned you can replace AI with automation, but the reason so many people, AI is the buzzword. It's been the buzzword for just about 3 years now. Most people, when we have a conversation with them, I want to implement that AI thing you talked about. What they really, really, really want when we unpack this is they want something to happen automatically in the background without touching it again, which is automation. Now you can, when you really want to bring the power, you put both of those things together. So in just a second, I was reviewing our Zapier account. If you don't know what Zapier is a bridge. It's a software bridge. So imagine you're in New York City and you want to go from, one part of New York City to Brooklyn or something. You cross a bridge, right? Same thing with software. You have, let's say, Facebook lead ads or Google ads, and you have service type as an example. You want to get data from one to the other. And I was reviewing our Zapier account before this presentation for the first 9 months of the year, because when we built this, we had to, even though we didn't get it in super early, we had to get it in before this we had a certain deadline. We had 457,000 tasks just this year that have been automated for not only our businesses, but our clients. So I decided that I was going to go down the rabbit hole of, once I knew the number, I'm going to start asking ChatGPT some questions. So what if, of all of these tasks, they took 10 seconds on average to complete? Some take less than 5 seconds, but even just a simple thing like replying to a Google review,
that's
probably takes a minute or two.
Yeah, that's a 5-star. I mean, let's think about the 1-stars.
The 1-stars probably take like 3 hours because we go over it and we go over it and we go over it again. Or like, this is still not good.
Everybody needs to give me all the information. Why did we get this? Give me the background story, because I'm about to blast somebody on the internet.
So I figured 10 seconds was a great average for tasks. So based on the 457,000 tasks times 10 seconds, over the course of the first 9 months of this year, we've saved 1,270 hours of work, which, if you equate that out to 8-hour work days, that is 159 8-hour work days. Now, I know most of you guys work more than the 260 working days per year, but there's typically about 260 typical working days in a year. By the end of this year, because our task load has continued to go up, we're probably going to have almost an entire year's worth of savings by just doing little piddly things that we do all the time. And we just, I'm just going to do it. It takes 30 seconds. 159 full working days saved. And we got a little treat for you guys. We have a top 20 list of our favorite automations that we have put together. Some of these have AI, some of them don't. That'll take you right to our website where you guys can download that. So take out your phone, scan that. You'll get access to that.
I want to give a huge shout out to our team who made Josh look a lot older in this picture.
I was looking at this backstage and I'm like, damn, man, you guys made me look old.
Because he is. He really is old. He's just, he doesn't like to admit it.
So one other thing before we move to the next slide, we're going to have a link to connect with us later. We do have 5 free Facebook groups where we literally give out, we don't ask for anything. We give out free automation templates 3 days a week. We have over 300 of them built, something like that now. Those are all readily available for you guys because we want to pack this with as much value for you so you can start thinking differently and start acting on those new beliefs. So we talked about automation, but not everything can be automated. So what do we do next? How do we decide what we can delegate?
So if a task cannot be automated, then what do? We want to delegate it.
I send it to you.
He's not lying. He really does. His delegation is, hey, Tersh, figure out how to delegate this. No, I'm just kidding. So we want to do a time study. What is a time study, Josh?
Just study time.
Oh, well, that's simple.
How many of you guys here have done a time study before? A few? Okay, good. So we got room to improve. So a time study, when I tell you what it is, you're going to be like, oh, I'm not going to do that.
What's
So-
time for that?
Y'all have smartphones. They all have timers on them. Every 15 minutes throughout a day, you want to stop. You want to have a little timer on, and you want to take note of what you did for that 15 minutes. And then you want to do that for at least a week. Some people will say do it for longer, but a week is a very good barometer.
But Josh, I don't have time to do my work now.
Well, that's why we need to write down what we do, because there is a lot of waste in everybody's day. I know everyone says they work 10, 12, 14-hour days, but there's usually a lot of waste. And there's some social media time. There's some other stuff that we're doing.
Little Instagram reels.
But we don't know what that looks like until we actually write it down and we can see it in front of our face. So a time study is the most powerful way to do it. It takes about a week of your time. You are going to be, both Tersh and I have done this. I've done this multiple times. Every time I do it, I'm amazed at the things that I don't want to do, that I'm doing every single day. So the next step of the time study is to start putting marks next to things. And there's different ways to do this, but put marks next to things that you love and you're great at, and you put that in one checkbox. So imagine a quadrant. The top right is love and I'm great at. The quadrant next to it would be, I like it, I'm pretty good at it. I kind of like doing that. Then you start getting to the things that you're good at, but you really don't like to do. And then at the bottom quadrant, you get to, I hate this. I don't ever want to do that task again. And you start writing those things down that you did for that week in those quadrants, because then that's your way of making a decision of what you want to get off your plate. So you can work on things that actually fill your bucket instead of remove from your bucket.
Does that sound like a time suck to anybody else other than me? Yeah, it's definitely. So there's also devices like this, which is a limitless, or a device like this, which is a Claude. And literally, you can turn it on all day long and tell it every time you change from one task to the next, and it'll do all of that for you automatically. That's the joys of AI. So then we want to figure out delegation next. So delegation works best when what you're working on, what you're handing off is already working. So does everybody understand the difference between delegation and then abdication, delegation by abdication? So if you delegate a process that is not working and you say, hey, figure this out, that's delegation by abdication. You're not giving them success. You're not setting that person up for success, so you can't get mad at them. So what should you delegate?
Yeah, and Tersh and I came up with a list. I guess I'm jumping ahead of ourselves. So tasks you hate doing, I already mentioned that one, but someone else enjoys. And believe it or not, the thing that you hate doing, there is a person out there. We mentioned there was 2 people that raised their hand about SOPs.
Kristen.
Get with those 2, build some SOPs, and you'll be much happier.
Miss Ruth King over there, she likes doing it too.
Tasks that don't miss, especially if you're the visionary, a general manager, a service manager, a leader in your company. If you're doing low value admin work, you are not moving the business forward. You are just being busy. And things that others can do 80% as well as you. There's a favorite.
I think this is the absolute hardest part as the type A personality business owners that are fill this room is, but they can't do it as good as I can. How do I delegate to someone who cannot do it as good as me? Because I do everything the best because I'm Tersh and I do everything the best. So
80% done by someone else is 100% freaking awesome. If you walk away with one thing, remember that quote, and also buy the book, Buy Back Your Time. It's a fantastic book. He breaks things down in a very simple to understand way, but it is so important to remember that you might think you're really good at something until you get someone who actually loves that thing that you're trying to delegate. They will take it so much further than you ever could.
we've experienced this personally.
I mentioned I'm jumping ahead. So now what have we delegated in our business? We have a list for you guys just to start generating some ideas.
Social media, including the 5 Facebook groups. This is a big one for us. Video editing. I'm not good at it. Josh, he doesn't even know how to turn a video camera on. So there's that. And podcast management. That's not fun for either one of us because we like talking and not managing.
And the funny thing is, a lot of these things up here, Trish and I did all these when we started. We mentioned during the intro, they mentioned how we grew the podcast. A lot of that stuff was done manually by us. And until we started really digging into this philosophy of optimize, automate, delegate, now we have some fantastic people who do things way better than we ever did.
Like the image of Josh that ages him like 20 years. But that's way better than what I would have done it.
So these are all things, and some of this stuff is unique to us because we have a podcast and stuff, but some of these things, email and calendar management, if you start with nothing else, start with those 2 things. I know what you're thinking. Nobody's going to be able to manage my email as well as I can. But I promise you they can. And what's great about it is you don't see all the emails that come in because we all know there's maybe like 20% of emails you actually have to look at. That stuff can all get archived, put in folders, and then you can review it when you want. Because the problem is, except for our newsletter, make sure that goes to your inbox. Don't put that in a newsletter folder. But when you get all of those types of emails, you can decide what you want to do with them. And then again, if you have a process, that person follows the process. Now you only focus, when you log into your inbox, the only things you see are important things that absolutely need your time and attention.
We don't start with delegation. We don't jump into automation. We start with optimization because without it, the rest is just magnifying a mess. Optimize, automate, delegate.
Remember, you guys are doing the right things. We're just doing them in the wrong order.
Yes. As home service providers, again, we try as hard as we can to do as much as we can, as well as we can.
And if you haven't heard it enough, you guys are going to be dreaming of optimize, automate, delegate. We made sure of it with this presentation. So Tersh, you came into this presentation, we walked up, you thought you were doing great, you realized you weren't doing so great, and then you were ready to crash and burn. Now that we have this framework, how do you feel?
I imagine that I'm going to spend more time with my family. I'll have a happier team that they know exactly what the process is, especially if they're going to get paid the day after Thanksgiving. And then more freedom to work on the business. Optimization isn't the final step. Optimization is the foundation for starting for better results. So for more efficiency, for more consistency, and most importantly, more time.
I'm Josh.
I'm Tersh.
Thanks, guys.